Thank you for listening. My name is Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21. I'm a mixed martial arts journalist. I currently contribute to bjpen.com, Low Kick MMA, CageSidePress.com. You could find my work there as well as my YouTube channel at aka Strauss21. And of course, the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts podcast that you are listening to right now. Here is my latest interview. I hope you enjoy it. I want to welcome Josh Emmett back to the show. It's been a while, man. How have you been, Josh?
Good. Yeah, everything's going good. It's been a crazy 2018, but seems like everything's kind of coming together now, and looking forward to my return.
You know, when will your return be? I mean, I saw that you're back at training now. Just the other day on social media, you put up a tweet saying that it feels good to be back at home. That's got to feel good, man, to be back there at Uriah Faber's
Ultimate Fitness.
Fitness, Team Alpha Male. You know, it's got to feel good to be back with the guys, right?
Yeah, no, it's been great. That was my first pro practice since February, so
Wow.
It's been quite some time. I've been doing other things here and there, working around, training and stuff like that. But I also, Chad has a big fight coming up, so I wanted to get in there and help him out as much as I can up until his fight also.
Yeah, I mean, you went through some intense stuff there, man. I mean, the Jeremy Stevens fight, of course, but then, you had that little update with Ariel Helwani, and I don't think anybody really realized the level of things that you were going through, man. And just truly remarkable that you're even here less than a year later talking about getting ready to get back in the Octagon. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was when I was in Orlando. And after the fight, it was just the general hospital there. They kind of like misdiagnosed a lot of the things that was going on with me. They just thought I had a fracture on like the lateral part of my orbital and like the orbital floor. But then it turns out there was so much more to that. I broke several bones, like my zygomatic arch. That's on like the side of your face, like your cheek, and then actually my cheek was completely broken and pushed in, and my nerve was being compressed, the major nerve that for your face, the muscle that controls my eye was being impinged as well. And so a lot of the doctors in general, like when I came back to Sacramento, I ended up going to the Sutter Medical. It's a great hospital here in Sacramento, just because I still wasn't feeling that great. And then they did another CT scan and then admitted me right away, and they said I need emergency surgery. So they took me out to another hospital nearby, where they had like the surgeon. There's like three different there's a surgeon, plastic surgeon, and an ophthalmologist. And the ophthalmologist, just from seeing the CT scan, I think he thought, when he saw me, he was surprised how I was even moving my eye, how my eye was still there, because there's really nothing in the eye socket holding it in place. He said it should have like popped out. He said it could have been completely popped. He kept saying popped because the lateral part was broken. And he said a lot of times with that, the bone will actually puncture the eyeball.
Oh,
and
my God.
And then just the way that my muscle was being impinged, a lot of times when that happens, people can't move their eye, and it's just, you can lose your eyesight. So he was amazed when he saw me that I was actually able to move it and see and do all these type of things. He was just like dumbfounded. He's like, how are you doing this? And he just kept telling me how lucky I was. And actually all the surgeons there were saying how lucky I was. So it's I guess that's the the good thing about that. I didn't pop my eye.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. It's incredible that like you said, man, that you have your sight. And this might be a stupid question. I mean, I guess it is a stupid question. Were you in a lot of pain? Is that why you went back to the hospital? I mean, because it sounds like it was excruciating.
Yeah, no, it was super painful, and I'm glad. Like, even when I was in Orlando and I went there, and it seemed like, just even like the doctors and things like that, I don't even know. It just seemed like it was probably one of the worst hospitals I've ever been in. Like, they just didn't seem like I obviously don't know stuff about like the medical field and stuff like that, but it seemed like they couldn't give me answers, and they just weren't that knowledgeable about a lot of things. And they were potentially saying, oh, we can do surgery here. And then I have a doctor and a friend that I've worked with for, I've known for 5-6 years, and my wife actually works for him, so she's on the phone with him, and he was upset. Just he's like, oh no, just you guys get out of there, come home, and then head to Sutter. But I was in tons of pain, and that's the reason why I went back to Sutter. So just because it was excruciating, like you said, just things that just didn't feel. I was like, this doesn't feel right. I don't think I just have a fracture in my orbital. It was just like all over my face, and like it's hard to explain in like my brain and things like that. So a lot of issues, but I'm glad that I got back to Sacramento and went to a great hospital.
We had, my wife and I, we had a similar situation when our son, well, first we had our daughter, everything was fine. And then a few years later, we had our son. To make a long story short, we went to the same hospital we had our daughter at, but there was a complication when my son was born. He was born with something called congenital diaphragmatic hernia. It's a crazy long story, but to make it a short story here, they totally misdiagnosed it and almost killed him. And if it
Oh
wasn't,
wow.
yeah, I mean, it was incredible, man. But I understand what you're saying completely because when I was trying to get answers, they just couldn't give them to me. They didn't know. And here I am. Yeah, I've done this once before, but you guys do this every day. You guys should be able to supply me with more information. And it was terrible. They botched it. If it wasn't for one doctor that knew what he was doing, that actually organized a transfer for my son to go out to the University of Chicago, a fantastic hospital here in Illinois, then yeah, we probably would have lost him. So I understand what you mean by you trust these physicians and then they drop the ball like that. And I just thank God that it worked out the way it did for you. Do you have any idea when you could get back into the Octagon, or are we talking maybe first quarter next year?
Yeah, I'm hoping the sometime in the spring maybe. I like I've said, I've been doing things, and now I'm just kind of like getting into practices. I won't really know until I get into hard sparring to see how I feel. But for the most part, I feel pretty good drilling and doing some light like touch sparring and stuff like that. I feel fine. So I'm just hoping, you know. Yeah, sometime in the spring, whether it be, I've always wanted to fight on that March 2nd card. That would be the absolute earliest, if that was a possibility, or later in March or April. But yeah, I'm gunning for that March 2nd card.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, you're right there. You gotta think that you're gonna be right in the mix, the top 10 when you get back there. On a different note here, I saw that you were at a Raiders game yesterday.
Yeah, it's yeah, that was a good time. I have a lot of friends that are big time Raiders fans, and I went with my best friend. So he's a diehard Raiders fan, and he had some tickets, and yeah, he sits on a lot of boards, and so we went with the vice mayor of Sacramento and stuff like that. So it was a good time.
Very cool. Well, as a diehard Bears fan, I thank your best friend for letting Leo Mack go. 'Cause that's just done amazing things for our team here in Chicago this year. Off the wall question here: are you a Netflix guy? Is there a certain show that you guys are binge watching out there?
Man, I was watching the Ozarks.
Awesome
That was a
show.
good show. Yeah, I was binge watching that. I watched like the first and both seasons. Matter of like a week or two. I
Mhm.
couldn't stop. So that was a good show. How about you?
Yeah, yeah. The wife, it's weird because I'll have like my show, and then the wife and I will have our show, and one of our shows was Ozark, and we just got done with that recently. What are we watching now? Actually, you know what we're doing now? We went back on Hulu. They had just put Married with Children, so we're going back now and doing all the Married with Children's. It's it's weird to see the late '80s. It's very weird.
Yeah, it's funny. I grew up watching that too, but it's funny watching like some of the older shows or movies back when like I was growing up, and I was like, oh, this is a great movie. But then you see it now, and it's just like some of the props and everything are just it's like so corny. And I was like, how is this a good movie? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's only a handful that really like Terminator 2. Like some of the ones that really hold up the test of time, man. Um,
Yeah, of course.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. I'd like to give you a few minutes to shout out your sponsors, coaches, whatever you'd like, man. Floor is yours, Josh.
Oh yeah, no, I just same as always. I just like to thank obviously my wife and my friends and family and team and sponsors. I trifecta nutrition, RP strength, and just really everyone that's kind of all my fans and stuff, people that have been there supported me through a crazy 2018. But I'm almost back to competing, and hopefully 2019 in the spring I'll be there. And yeah, I can't wait to literally get back in there and put on a show for everybody and get back to doing what I love.
Yeah, for sure, man. I can't wait too. Like I said, you got to figure you're going to have a top guy when you get back there, so it's going to be interesting. And hopefully, yeah, get on that March 2nd card or right around there. I'd love to have you back on. I don't know if I'll talk to you before the holidays, so man, you have a blessed holiday, safe, and just make it the best one you can make it, brother.
All right, cool. Thank you. You too. Have a good one.
You too. Take care, man.